Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Coach Unplugged is brought to you by great people over at teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. Here is your host, Steve Collins.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Super excited. Thursdays start feeling like Wednesdays, start feeling like everything with this world pandemic that we're going through right now. But before we do that, I'd like to give a big shout out to our two sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market. You will find nothing better. This is the time to go buy that home one. If my kid was in middle school and wasn't going off to college, I would definitely go and buy one of these, put it in my garage, pull it out. It's the only shooting machine that's been basically picked to do for home use only, or you could use it in a gym, I guess. But go over and check them out. Mention Coach Unplugged. They'll give you $350 off your next purchase. Then go over and check out teachhoops.com. I thought yesterday's podcast was great about how we kind of help coaches build programs. Today we're going to talk about being a college coach. I'm wondering if Middlebury, my son's going to Middlebury, if they'll play this team. But I'll have to look that up. But a great interview with Coach Mason, and just kind of being a college coach and those kind of back end things. I think you'll enjoy this one. And again, it's Thursday, so feels like Tuesday, feels like Monday, feels like every day of the week when you're, like I said, in a world pandemic. All right, enjoy. All right, welcome to Coach Unplugged. I'm gonna let Coach Mason introduce himself, and then what I like to do is have him kind of tell us about his basketball journey to start. And then we kind of basically see which road that takes us down. And, I've got all sorts of questions, but sometimes we go down a road that's not necessarily the one that I think we're going to start down. So Coach, can you tell us, and I grew up in the Midwest, but I went to school out East. So I kind of know, give us your location, where you're coaching, all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. My name's Charlie Mason. I'm actually finishing up my 16th year at New England College, which is located in Henniker, New Hampshire, the only Henniker in the world.
It is.
So been very fortunate working for a school I really believe in. Prior to that, I spent 7 years at Johnson State as the head basketball coach there, and before that, spent 2 years at Elmira College, and 2 years before that at Rockford College out in Illinois.
Oh, I know where that is.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So been really fortunate. Been working with great people throughout that tenure, and just excited to be on the air tonight with you, Steve.
Yeah. So my brother went to Dartmouth for undergrad. I went to Dartmouth for graduate school. He lives in Bedford, which is a suburb of Manchester. And I think we spent the last 5 or 6 summers in Crystal Lake, which is about, a half hour from Hanover. So I know New Hampshire very well.
Well, my wife's family is all from Bedford.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, went to school at West High School. Now they have Bedford High School, but
yeah, that's where my niece and nephew are Bulldogs. I think they're Bulldogs.
I believe they are. Yes, I believe you're correct.
I think that's right.
So,
all right. So tell me about. So the people that tend to listen to this podcast tend to be youth coaches, high school coaches, I've got some collegiate coaches, but it tends to be more the high school AAU youth coach and all that kind of stuff. And they ask a lot of different questions of me on a regular basis. And one of them is like, I want to become a college coach. I want to be a Division III coach. I want to be a collegiate coach. How do I do that? What would your advice be to them, or what would you say to them if they were asking that question?
I think you got to have 2 feet in where you are. And I think if your goal is to get to the next level, I think the first thing to do is do a great job of where you are. I think being successful in the position you are makes you much more attractive to that next opportunity. I think having said that, I think the natural progression would be going to work on a college staff.
Right.
And I think the most important thing is finding someone, not only a successful program as you look for that next opportunity, but most importantly, working for someone you trust, you respect, and you feel you can be committed to.
Right.
And vice versa.
And have you seen things change in the collegiate level over the last 10 years? Especially at your level?
I think every year it changes.
And how does it change?
I think every year, I mean, it's just a very competitive field.
Right.
My first time as a graduate assistant out at Rockford College, I worked for a gentleman, Coach Tim Buckley. And Tim was a great influence. I'll never forget going up to my first Final Four with him up to Minneapolis. And he told me, walking in the door, we're in a line of probably 2,000 people waiting to get their credentials, saying, this is the avenue. This is who you're competing with every time you're looking at that next job.
Right.
And I think those opportunities are much more competitive now than they were in the early 90s when I had my first opportunity.
Right. And I had it was like a week ago, I was talking to Brendan Sir, who basically said, he worked for, I don't know if he was in the front office of the Knicks or something. And he basically said, I got 1,000 resumes, over the 2.5 years I was working for the Knicks. You know how many people I hired off those resumes? And I go, well, I have no idea. He goes, 0. It was about relationships and networking, which is part of getting out and doing that. I think that's really important. I would agree. Do you see?
It's interesting. I was just going to say it's interesting because when I was back in the late 80s, 90s, I was playing. I worked. I had a great opportunity. My 8th grade coach had moved up the coaching ladder pretty quickly. He was out working. He was the associate head coach out at Marquette.
Okay.
For Mike Dean and then Kevin O'Neill.
Okay.
He got me into working camps.
Yep.
I think the way things have changed with AAU, I don't know if camps are necessarily the same avenue that they once were. I think the hardest, most difficult challenge for a young person or an older person getting into the business at college level is figuring out where you find your niche to make those relationships.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure it's it used to be the camps for sure. I'm not sure it's the same as it was when you and I were coming up through. I agree. I've thought about I've been very successful. I've coached guys that have played at professional level. We've won tons of games. Probably our program over the last 20 years, probably won the most games in the state of Wisconsin, probably over that span. And I've thought about it, but it's like, you're right. I think it's got to be that right piece at the right time with that right school. If you're going to make the jump. But I tell people, why would I want to move when I got a good thing going too? So I think that's interesting. So you've been there, you had a great season this year.
We did. It was a wonderful ride.
It was. Yeah. And who'd you play in the first round? I looked it up.
We played Swarthmore.
Okay.
Swarthmore went all the way to the Elite 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the WEAC, our league is really the state schools in Wisconsin tend to be really good because we don't have any Division II schools in our state, so that helps keep a lot of those kids around. So talk about the recruiting process, because I know you were saying you were recruiting the other day. Talk to the people about how that works, especially at your level, rather than we're not talking the Villanova Jay Wright calling. The Division I big boys have a different level than you do. Talk about how you do your recruiting.
I think it's very similar to what we were describing in terms of of creating opportunities to coach at the college level. I think it's all about relationships. That's something we've really been invested. I've been really fortunate. We have an athletic director who's been very supportive, and we have a support staff. We have an associate head coach, Malcolm Wynn, who's got more experience than I do. Was a former head college coach, and he's been tremendous. And we've had a graduate assistant program that we've been very fortunate. We have Jaywan Martin right now in his first year, so we spend a lot of time on the road, going and trying to build relationships. In fact, last year we started 2 freshmen. We ended up seeing each freshman play last year as seniors in high school. We saw them individually. Between the 2 of them, we must have gone 30 times to watch them play.
I think that's a lost thing right now. I really do. I mean, I think the coaches coming to the high school games I think the shortcut is the summer stuff. And I think the relationships can be built when they come out of the locker room and during the high school season. I do. I see the big boys showing up, the D1 guys, but you just don't see it like you used to about the college coaches hanging around the high school gyms. You just don't see it. At least in our area, you don't see it like you used to.
Again, you alluded to before, I think it's that relationship. I think that's something that's lost in just today's society in general, with the cell phone and the internet and so forth.
Yeah.
Steve, we go to high school graduations.
Right.
I went to 7 graduations last year alone.
Wow. And what's your radius? What's your recruiting radius?
In the past, we've had students we've been able to go international, but we're not going over to see them play.
Right.
We've had a lot more success in Massachusetts, the New England area. I'd say probably 5 hours. We'll be on the road to make a trip like that. After that, we can't make trips that go beyond New York and so forth.
Right.
On a routine basis. Doesn't mean we're always looking for the next avenue.
Right. And do kids self-recruit themselves? Do they say, hey, I want to come there? Do you get a lot of that or not?
To some extent, I think this year with the success we had, I think we make ourselves much more marketable.
Right. Right.
I think there's something to be said for even this generation, people want to go somewhere where they're competitive.
Right. Yeah.
We've had a great environment this year, and we have a young team. We want to take another step. We know we need to bring in some more players to help us continue to move forward.
What skill do you think kids are missing when you go out and watch all these games?
I think it's passion.
It's a little dog.
I think they play so many games that the passion doesn't resonate like I think it once did.
Yes, it's a Snapchat society. Everything's so fast, and it's so. Here's my theory with this. My son is a sophomore. He was on my JV team. He'll make my team next year. But it was like he's a good student, so he's looking at some schools out there, some probably just to go to school. But anyway, we were talking about, do you want to play AU or not? And he goes, well, let's talk about the pluses and minuses of it. And we decided that it was more important for him to get stronger, faster, and shoot the ball even better than he can than to go play 4 games on a Saturday, which has what meaning do they really have unless you're a top recruit? So, yeah, I think they play too many.
That's amazing for a 10th grader to have that perspective.
Yeah. Hopefully
because I think that's you don't hear very often of a
right. And I told him
in high school having that.
And I told him, I said, Drew, you can play AU and you can go play with your friends and you can, but let's talk about what this really is. It's you hanging out with your buddies, just playing games, having fun. It's not going to make you a better player. Because I can get you a game. I can call 10 guys right now and open the gym up and get you a game. So yeah, it's a unique thing. All right. So let's talk some X's and O's. If you could only do 3 things at practice, what would you do?
I'd work on transition. I'd work on playing, and I'd work on shooting.
And I think Villanova.
And I say transition. I would say defensive transition as much as offensive transition.
Yeah, the turning and the what do you run offensively?
Run the spread offense.
Okay.
from Illinois.
Yep.
We're very athletic, and I think the game's changing. We've taken our post away from it in multiple parts because we have kids who can get to the basket. I think at the same time, everyone wants to face the basket anyway.
Right.
And we've had a lot. We had a really positive experience this year with Brad Underwood's concepts.
I like that. Yeah. Not a lot of people are running that either. If you could go back to yourself as a younger coach, go back to those Rockford days, what would you tell yourself?
How important patience is. And I think that'd be the first thing I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
right.
I think when you're passionate, I think it's difficult to be patient.
Yes, I would agree. This is a great question I've asked a lot of coaches. If you could think of one coaching moment that we could talk about and dive into that would maybe help the coaches that are listening, do you have any of those? Anything from a game you've seen to a game you experienced, anything we could kind of talk about and dive into?
I think the thing that really resonates about this past year and actually the last 2 years where we've been able to turn things around for us is the importance of the support staff and having people you can trust and actually having their input and allowing them to be invested into the program.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for different voices, and I think obviously at the college level, there's more of a commitment. You have more of a support staff most of the time, from what I can see, my experiences. But I think their perspective is really helpful.
Well, and I tell people, I mean, there's two really important days a day. I pick my team at my level, and the people I have that I'm spending all my time, the support people around me. Hey everybody, how you doing? I want to give a big shout out to, first of all, please subscribe and like and leave a review. Those really do mean a lot to us. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. We all want to get better. We're asking our kids to become better on their own right now. So why don't you become better too as a coach? But before we do that, I'd like to give a big shout out to Veo. It is the affordable sports camera for all of you. It records. It's easy to set up. It gets 180 degrees. You'll never miss anything on the court. And they'll give you $100 off. So go over and check them out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I know all of you have seen other things out there that sometimes miss or mounted in your gym and can't go with you. This is portable, veo.co/unplugged. When we check out, you'll put in unplugged 100 off and they'll give you $100 off. I'll put this down in the show notes. Let's head off to the podcast. Without those two, we're not successful. Yeah, I agree. Tell me one time you lost a game on a last second shot and what you would have done differently.
It's interesting you say that. I'd come back and ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you a believer in fouling at the end of the game when you're up 3 and the other team has the ball? And if so, at what point of the clock would you foul?
I don't. I hate doing it. I know I'm a math teacher, and I know there's times I'm supposed to do it. I hate putting points on the board. So I mean, I will with 7 seconds tends to be my cutoff. Again, we don't have a shot clock and all that kind of stuff, and there's no like moving it to like half court like the women and stuff like that. But no, I mean, I tend not to do that. Even though the math is about 50-50 on it too. I'm not convinced high school kids are good enough at boxing out and those kind of things that I think we could actually win the game.
I listened to a gentleman I used to coach against who's now Tom Devitt, who's at Hartford University, did a presentation the other 2 summers ago. And he talked about the odds, not just the odds of boxing out. I mean, as a staff, we go back and forth.
I know.
And I don't know if I have the courage to do that.
I don't.
And having said that, I was going to say we're very small, so it doesn't bode well for us trying to box out a team that's bigger than us in those closing seconds.
All right, so go back to the question. What do you remember a game that you lost?
Remember us losing a last second shot last year or this past season. You know, I will say that the game that I remember losing last second was a similar situation where we had a timeout and we actually passed the ball. We inbounded the ball to another inbounder. He stepped out of bounds. We scored with 5 seconds left. They ran the ball back and hit a 3 with no time left, and we lost by 1. So they made the foul shot to tie the game. We come off. They call timeout. We run an out of bounds set with pass the ball baseline to a guy stepping out of bounds, throwing the long pass, and we had too much time on the clock. They came back, and actually the gentleman who made the shot didn't make a shot all game, and it was a contested 3 in the corner.
It's the corner ones too. What? How much time do you spend on situations in practice?
Not enough.
I know.
In fact, I would say this, and I'm not going to do this justice. Spent last week in San Antonio. Went to 11 different presentations. Coach Dooley, who's going back to Eastern Carolina, he had a game called Plus 16 that was unbelievable.
Okay.
7-second increments. You start with 7 seconds on an out-of-bounds play. And you make or miss off that, then you go and you shoot 2 foul shots. And then the other team goes the other way, and you break it down. First team to 16 wins.
Okay, so say that again.
I've never said.
So you play too many games?
No, you're going back and forth against the other team. He said a 7-second shot, clock. So you have 7 seconds on your clock.
Okay.
You start with 2 free throws. You got to make 2 free throws. The other team has a chance to go the other way.
Okay. And do they have 7 seconds?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you have an out of bounds play, 7 seconds, either side out or baseline, and then you reverse the roles. And the first team to 16 wins.
Ooh, I like that.
So now you're working on situations, and you're putting yourself on very specific situations. It's more detailed, and I think there's more rhythm to it.
Right. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff with stops, score stops, and score stops, scores. We keep score like that, but I like that where there's actual situations. Well, I like that a lot.
It was tremendous. And I'm not doing it justice because I'm doing this off the top of my head.
Right,
but it was something I was going to forward on to some coaches because I took notes on it, obviously.
Right. And did you see anybody else that you would recommend seeing or listening to?
I didn't see a bad presentation. In fact, the first presentation was awestruck. It was Coach Popovich.
Oh yeah.
So he went in front of I bet there were I'm not great with numbers, but I'm going to say there were 2,000 people in this court where they had the lecture. And the first thing someone asked him who he was wearing a blue Navy blazer, took off his blazer, started unbuttoning his Oxford shirt.
Right.
And underneath it was a Pomona Pitzer basketball T-shirt. He started walking around saying, "I'm a Division III coach masquerading as an NBA coach." So that's how I went to 11 of them. He set the bar very high from there. And again, it was very good from there. They had the 2 professors and Tom Crowley, who's the associate AD at Butler, do something on the Butler way. I thought that was tremendous. Dave Paulson had a great lecture on culture. I believe it's Duquette from North Florida had a great lecture at 9 a.m. on Monday morning.
Oh, really?
Dave Odom spoke. Ryan Odom spoke. I thought those opportunities were really, really tremendous in terms of learning because we're always trying to learn and get better.
Right. It's not even about the game, to be honest with you. It's more about all the other stuff that's coming. So a couple other questions. So if you could meet one coach, I always ask everybody this, if you could meet one coach for an hour, anybody living or dead, who would you want to meet and why?
The first name that comes to my mind would be John Wooden. And it wouldn't be because of his success winning all the championships. It's the way he impacted so many people. I'm struck by his readings, how he always introduced himself as a teacher and not a coach.
Right.
I would think you'd be able to really take an awful lot away from him.
I do too. Do you have any superstitions you have?
Nothing that comes to mind. But if something's working, then I'm going to go with it.
Well, that's a good way to go. You're one of few. Most of the coaches go, yeah, you do this, and I have this sports coach. That's good. I used to have them, and then I don't know, I got tired of them or something. What do you think the biggest change for the game has been over the last 15 years?
I think working with the players.
And what do you mean by that?
I think I think it's a different generation. I think people change, and I think trying to build those relationships where they believe in you and they know you're invested in them.
And why do you think that's happened? Why do you, I mean, I can see our father saying the same thing about the previous generation. What do you think has occurred?
Absolutely.
So what do you think's happened to cause that in the game of basketball?
I think it's bigger than basketball. I think you see it in society itself. I think our ability to communicate with each other. You were talking before about your son's decision with AAU and doing pickup. My wife tells me all the time, she was a college coach for 20 years. When we were growing up, we would go out in the backyard and figure out how to organize games, and we would figure it out. In this day and age, that doesn't happen unless the adults are making phone calls and we have jerseys and we're in an air-conditioned gym.
Right.
So that initiative and I think that ability to interact with each other, I don't think it's the same. For all the things we've gotten better at, I think that's something that's suffered in the process.
I tell people that I'm not a basketball coach. I tell them I'm a teacher, I'm a psychologist, I'm a social worker, I'm a cook sometimes. I'm you name it. And I don't remember my coach doing that when I was growing up. He was like, here we go. This is what we're doing. And, but I also think I have a stronger relationship with my players because of that too. So yeah, I do. I think it's an entirely different generation. But I think especially with, the collegiate boys or the high school boys, it's like, if they buy in, they're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
don't know how they buy in when they don't feel that they believe, before you can show them what you got to show them that you care about them.
Right. Well,
they got to feel that investment.
Yep. I've told people that I'm not sure X's and O's are always my strength, but I think I convince them to go to battle with me. And that's half of it, to be honest with you. That I tell them that this is the time of year I'm building relationships. From now until next season, until the beginning of the season is when I'm building the relationship, so that I have things deposited in the bank. So when I need to pull them out during the season and things are a little bit harder and they're having that truth conversation with me, it's a lot easier to do that. And there's more respect there. If I'm not building the relationship now, it's not like I can't pull. I don't have anything to pull from.
Isn't that leadership?
It is 100%, but I don't see it as much.
I think it's a word used often. I don't think people really put a lot of value into it at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't see it. All right, let's do our rapid fires because I know you're busy. Let's do our. So I'm going to ask you a question and you get one answer. All right. What's one word to describe your favorite player?
Invested.
Okay. If you could only go to one sporting event in the world, what would it be?
Final Four.
Okay. What's your favorite basketball? What I mean by that is your actual name of the basketball.
Wilson.
Do you have one for this side note? Do you have one for your league that you have to use?
I have to get back. We're actually changing leagues this coming year. We're going from the North Atlantic Conference to the NEC.
Oh, really? So tell everybody who's in the NEC.
The NEC would include Southern Vermont, Becker, Leslie, Mitchell, Eastern Naz is joining us. Dean is already in there. Elms, that's it.
And what happened to the league that you're in? You're just leaving, or things are changing, or how did that come about?
It was a decision, but obviously by the administration, and I think that was really catapulted by some other schools making it known that they were looking to move. And frankly, it does serve our school, as we're going to be spending a lot more time in states such as Massachusetts, where a majority of our kids are from.
Right. So it's easier for you to recruit, probably. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. What's one thing that you do to relax? Okay. What's your favorite pregame meal?
One that I don't have to cook.
I'm telling you, Brendan Sir wins this one. He said free. That was the best answer I've heard so far.
There you go.
Free. Best player you've seen in person?
I worked Michael Jordan's camp. So, I'd have to go with him.
Okay. Best player of all time?
I'd go again with Michael Jordan.
He's winning. You're about the 30th person I've asked that question to, and he's winning. Well, not even close. One thing that helped you become a better coach?
The people I've surrounded myself with. I've been fortunate enough to be around.
One thing you change about the game?
I would I would wish that the game wouldn't change so quickly. Seems like we're constantly adding new rules and going in different directions. I think the game's a good game as it is. And I'm a little leery at how many different directions we've gone in the last few years trying to change the game.
Yeah, you're preaching the choir on that. We're trying our association's trying to put in the shot clock. I go, what's unique about high school basketball is that we don't have the shot clock, but we'll see. Best game you've seen in person?
I'm going to say our championship game this year.
There you go. I picked my 2011 state championship game. That's what I pick. One word, we won in triple overtime. One word to describe your coaching style.
All in.
Okay. Top bench player of all time.
For that I coached?
Anybody.
Steve,
doesn't matter.
The name is escaping. Is it Bobby Jones? Played for the Sixers?
Yep. Oh, I liked Bobby Jones. Yeah. What
I was a big Sixer fan growing up.
Played for the Lakers. What was his name?
The Lakers played with the goggles?
The guy with
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had the goggles.
Yeah, but the other
Rambis.
guy. Oh, Rambis.
Rambis.
Yeah, Rambis. He was a six man for a long time. Best basketball coach of all time. I think you answered this already, probably, but
I'd say John Wooden.
Yep. All right.
Or Red Auerbach.
Oh, I like Red too. This is going to be a hard one for you because of a previous answer. But if you could only recommend one book, what would it be?
I'm a huge John Gordon fan, so I'd say any book he's written.
Okay.
From the Energy Bus all the way to, I've literally read all of his books. I think that's at a different level.
Yes, I would agree. And then one thing you would tell a young coach. I think you've kind of answered this already too.
Be patient.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people who you can learn from and you can trust.
Well, thank you, Coach. I really appreciate you being on tonight. I'm going to put all your when we get off here, I'll get all your contact information. So people need to get a hold of you. They can put it down in the show notes. And any other parting words? Do you have any other great parting words?
I just want to thank you for having me on tonight. I've actually listened to some of your podcasts, and going into the spring, I'm looking forward to actually listening more. We get in our own seasons, don't have those sort of opportunities. But again, I want to thank you for.
There's going to be some great ones. There really are. I mean, the like I was telling you before, it was like I had Brendan Surr on, and I run Read and React, so I'm kind of a Rick Torbert disciple. So like I told you, we kind of spent a couple hours on the phone last night. So I really appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, hope you enjoyed that. If you did, go join teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. You want to become a better basketball coach. Let me help you. Where else can you find a mentor for, a dinner at McDonald's, basically? Let me help you. Not only resources and communities and handouts and one-on-one calls and office hours. It's got a little bit of everything that will help you become a better basketball coach. Also, go over, subscribe and leave a review. And if you're going to do any shopping on Amazon, click down below. We would appreciate it.
This episode is brought to you by ChatGPT. Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. Have you guys heard about ChatGPT work? It's the new way to use ChatGPT for bigger multi-step projects. And when you need more than just answers, give ChatGPT work access to your apps and files, and it can create real work documents like spreadsheets, slides, and structured reports. Get started at chatgpt.com by selecting work mode, available on Plus and Pro plans.